Wait. What did the cop say to you? I want to know that. That's more important.
This is the Transparency Podcast Show with hosts Shelby Chang and Michelle Herman from Long Beach, California, where we bring you life transformation stories, business, investment, personal development, entertainment, and more.
Michelle, today our guest, she's coming all the way from Michigan.
Michigan.
Yes. She's very active on Facebook, and that's how I kind of connect with her.
Okay.
And then she's very courage with her transition, and she's just started it not too long ago, and she decided to move forward to full-time girl.
Very good.
And I feel this is a very good guest that can also relate to many girls that they're not sure or they kind of afraid or have fears to come out.
Yeah.
So today, Carrie is going to tell us her stories and her experience, and also her experience at work as a trans person coming out.
Very good.
So welcome.
Let's meet
Carrie.
her.
Carrie James. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
How are you?
So introduce yourself a little bit and, tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay. Well, my name is Carrie James, and you kind of set me up. I guess I'm probably on Facebook way too much.
No. You're very, how do I say, very generous with your comments. I can see you comment
nice.
with many girls. There's no like jealousy or diva situation going on, so that's good. I love that. So.
Gotta be supportive.
I can be the diva as much as anyone else. No, I've decided to move on with my transition.
Congratulations.
Like so many other girls, I consider myself more of I'm evolving. I'm becoming who I really am.
Yes.
So you can like kind of tell us where you like in the beginning how you start, like how. Like, when do you feel when you're a little different and all that?
It's interesting because people ask, like, when did you think, right?
Right.
And I think my thought process has always been the same. It wasn't that I was feminine or anything like that. I just kind of felt that the way I was walking through life, that connection wasn't happening, right? And I think that it was more of a, you look at clothes. I mean, that's really the biggest thing. You look at makeup and you look at your hair, and that just felt more natural to me. And, so I can honestly say this is something I always kind of felt.
So do you start dressing in the closet, or you start just right away, like dressing and go out right away?
As a young child, I did, I got clothes and your sister stuff, and so you would try that, and and that's how it kind of grew.
So do you steal your sister's underwear to wear?
I bought my own. I went out and just got stuff on my own and just kind of, and it just felt natural, and I just knew this was going to happen. And I'd had relationships. I mean, I think I was telling you one time, Shelby, I had relationships with other women, and if I can be so bold to say it, it just felt that we were just two women going out. And, and I kind of felt that, maybe 3 years ago that I go, okay, this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
2.5 years ago, I was probably 90-10.
Did something specifically happen to push you in that direction?
I just like the clothes, and I like the makeup, and I like doing it. And I think the way the city had evolved a little bit, where it's a little more accepting. I mean, we do have, Detroit, I mean, where I live, it's different than, you in LA, it's still a little bit different. We do have our pockets where it's very much accepted, there's places I can go to and not have it, but and I go everywhere. I decided, I said, well, I'm not going to kind of pigeonhole myself down into just those areas, because this is what I'm going to be.
Yeah, you want to live your life.
Right. Yeah, and I felt that, so that's all kind of all our started. So when you act about, I kind of joke. Someday somebody's going to ask me, what happened during the pandemic with you? I mean,
COVID does really strange things
because it just kind of, I mean, it was much more of a, it was just the transition. It was happening.
Yeah. So you provide us some pictures to show, the audience. So can you kind of let us know like what? Like this one, this picture.
This was fun.
Yeah. Is this like in the very, very beginning?
Oh, is that the two pictures, two faces?
Yes.
Yes.
So, all right, I'm going to tell you a story.
Okay, sure.
I was driving, and it was that moment I drove. I saw myself in the mirror in my car, and I go, "Oh my gosh!" But the problem was, I actually drove through a stop sign. And I got pulled over by the police.
Oh my gosh.
And so I took the two pictures, and my license hadn't been changed. And it looked, so that's what that is.
Wait. What did the cop say to you? I want to know that. That's more important.
Well, God, there's a whole story and go on, but that he was very kind about it. I drove through it. He goes, "You understand what you did?" And I go, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what I did." And I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to try to talk you out of it. And I took the ticket and took off. And I just thought it was just a funny moment. And so and because that's what it is. I looked through the mirror of my my rearview mirror, and so I pulled my camera out to take the one picture where my jaw was dropping. And and then I went through. It was stupid. I should not have been driving and taking selfies of myself.
So is this your first selfie as Carrie?
Wasn't my first one, but it's the first one driving. Taking a picture while I was driving.
Excellent.
How about this? How about this one?
Yeah.
How about this picture? Is this like how long ago? Right after that first picture?
I can't see it. I'm sorry.
Oh, she can't see the other pictures.
I can't. I don't know which one that is. Oh, okay. I'm thinking, which one is that? Like in an apartment or something like that? I can't see it.
Looks like
I'm almost in the
How about this one? What are you doing in the laundry shop for?
There's one store here in Detroit called Janet's Closet.
Okay.
And it's kind of a cross-dresser trans place.
Okay.
And that was probably the first time I had somebody kind of do me, so to speak.
Yeah.
And and they become just great friends. I see them all the time.
I'm very curious. Besides those stockings, what else do they sell there?
Oh, well, they sell clothes. They sell shoes. It's everything you want. It just happens to be the wall that I think we always get our pictures taken by because it's by the cash register. And so it sells a lot of it's if you're looking online, Janet will probably be thrilled if I mention it to you. I'm going to give her a plug. But Janet's Closets, and it's where I go, and like I said, I become friends. I got a couple of friends there that I just adore.
So are they cis girls?
Yes, they really are. And in a way, it's been kind of neat because I have been lucky in that I do have a lot of cisgender support.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm here in Chicago with a friend.
So
and
so what about your own family and friends?
When did you first come out?
That's coming along.
Are they supporting you?
My folks kind of had a tough time, are having a tough time. I mean, and I get it. It's ironic. My sister's children are teenagers, and they're just fine.
Right.
But it's coming along. It's not going to, I understand. It's a big change for them, and it's just that, it's part of the process.
Right.
It's not as if they've knocked me out of their lives. It's not as if anybody has said, "Get out of here." sister's husband's not that thrilled, but I think it's because he just misses me not watching football with him, And
Yeah, one
not
thing
that
we
I don't
don't
like it, I still do, but I
right.
just think that, so little things like that. But,
One thing that we don't talk about too much as a community is that when we transition, those around us also transition. And so
yes.
it took me 54 years to come to terms, and so it'll take other people a while as well.
And I try to remember that, that it wasn't, this was coming, right? And they could tell. And, I could, my voice was kind of changing because I was working with that, I think one time, there was mascara still left in my eyes one time.
Right.
Telltale
signs.
And so I just, from that end, I got to remember, that this is a big change. I've lost some friends, and that's okay.
Yeah.
They just have to recognize that, this is me.
Right. How was it coming out at work?
This is an ongoing thing, and Shelby knows a little bit about it. So
how did you come out at work during COVID? That's the headline for you.
Well, what happened was the day that I was, Michelle, and Shelby's here, the day that I was supposed to come out, I was going to meet my management. And I figured the time was right because I was up for a job that would have been less client-facing, more of a, chief operations officer or whatever. But the day that I went was the day that basically the country shut down, and our global HR director had to fly back to London. Wow. And she goes, listen, I can't meet with you. I'm out of here, okay, because I won't be able to get back. So I continued, and it's been a bit of a balancing act. And Shelby, you don't know, it has been kind of coming out, because we are getting ready to go back to the office. And,
so before you go back to the office and you just do Zoom meeting, right? Do you tell us about that funny story that you told me?
So I would just, I would maybe wipe my lipstick off. I make myself,
You don't show videos, right?
Yes, and I go really close, and I wear darker glasses, and it'd be darker in the room. And I didn't really change my voice thinking back on it. But we didn't, the irony was we didn't have as many Zoom calls. I think because I have a client that couldn't do it as well. But there had been moments, where I laugh about this. One time I was presenting, and it was more of a conference call. And my slides were up on Zoom. And I tend to walk around a bit when I present. And it kept asking about what's this clicking sound going on, right? And I'm like, I don't know. And then after meeting, I'm walking around. I go, oh, wait a minute, that's my heels.
I love it.
So they all thought there was something wrong. So they're all checking her, what's going on? Because I was talking and presenting, and I use my hands to walk around. But it has been a bit of a, I don't think it's ever going to be the big surprise. There's some people that haven't. I have come out to some coworkers. One didn't really take it very well, but most of them have. We are getting ready for, unfortunately, a big, massive downsizing, and how we're gonna work my way through it. I didn't want to.
Is the company supportive overall? Do they have insurance plans?
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm not going to tell you much where I'm at or what group.
Sure.
They talk a lot about it. Our clients talk about diversity,
right.
DEI.
Yeah.
But to put it in action is a whole different deal.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll do their. I'm going to be blunt. They'll do their little dinners, and they'll bring out the former president of the company who's gay, and they'll bring him out. They pay him; he's retired, and they'll pay him to come. And so it's a little bit of they'll troop you out.
Yeah.
And I'd gone to those before I had kind of transitioned. And I go, okay, I know this. I'm not not naive.
Right.
And so, you just talk your way through it. I think that the decision needs to be made. I mean, myself and others, salaries of, somebody that you used to play golf with, walk around the clubhouse, right? Showers, everything else. And all of a sudden, like, oh, wait a minute, what happened? And so, yeah.
So, what do you anticipate when you go back to the office? It sounds like that will be soon.
I did have my first meeting. I finally was able to. I had some Zoom calls with my management and the board, and last Tuesday I got a call, and they wanted to meet with me in the morning, and I kind of go, okay, this could go two ways, but it went well. It was a nice discussion. We'll see. I think, like I said, so much has changed from a corporate standpoint, the stuff that's going on, in the Ukraine. We basically had to walk away from our investments in Russia.
Wow.
And had to shut those things down, and that's a significant amount, right? And just like everybody else.
Crazy.
So, well, it's I guess you could say this, Michelle. I'm sorry. It's in process.
Got you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now on your Facebook, I'm going to switch gear to more back to your personal life. So on your Facebook, I see you go out a lot, like with different group of girls and clubs. So how's Michigan, like when you go out? Do you feel safe? And like, how about like bathroom or pronouns? What do they?
Yeah.
Are they understanding you or?
There are some places that are kind of hard. Nobody's ever yelled at me when I've had to use, the right restroom.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody said, get out of here. But, it's not as if I'm going to certain places. I mean, I'm going to places that I know are going to be safe.
Yeah.
This would be accepting. But I do try, as I was saying earlier, I want to live a normal life. And this is my normal life.
Right.
And so I didn't want to be pigeonholed of only going to trans clubs or gay clubs or whatever. And don't get me wrong, I love them. I want to meet your friends and everything else. But at the same time, I do have a regular life, and I try to live that.
Right.
And I mean, there's a couple places you kind of go, okay, do I want to walk in there? Do I?
Sure.
Sure. And you just kind of do it. And you're all right. And it's like that. You try to go, and I think like I said, I'm lucky because I have, friends that are transitioning as well.
Okay.
But I also have cisgendered friends. And, I guess there's comfort in a pack.
Yeah. How has therapy been a part of your process? Have you been in counseling, or how has that worked for you?
Yeah, it's been great. I think that I tried without doing it, and I realized I couldn't. I knew that I had to get a little help.
Yeah, sure.
And there's that stigma, right?
Yeah.
And especially when you kind of get into this, it's a little easier. I mean, I can't say I haven't had my moments where I've had to have that, oh my gosh, I gotta see her right away, and so you go in.
Yeah.
But it's been good.
Good.
And I think it's just me. I think it's helped me. I mean, becoming who I am, I would hope that I've become a better person, because I think there's so many other things in my life that just make more sense.
Right.
That I just sit here and I'd like to think that I'm a better person. I do know I smile way too much. I thought it was somebody that people were saying this, but I catch myself, and I'll be walking by and I'll look in a mirror. Not that I'm vain, because believe me, I know my limitations of how I look. Mm-hmm. I know that, and but I can see myself, and I can. Yes. I'm happy when I've noticed that literally. I've walked down the streets, and I'm always wondering, God, people must look at her and go, what the hell is going on? Who's she smiling to? You're by herself. Right. And
how about those pictures that you post? Did you?
And it's because of people like you. Excuse me?
I say the pictures, like the recent pictures that you also sent us. I was always wondering, like, who teach you to pose? Like, do you like?
Yeah,
see, look at that
great
smile.
pictures.
Huh?
Oh my god. I have a friend, and she just thinks it's.
So
She's the one that, if you see me in some locations, you're like wondering why are in the middle of this ghetto, or why are they at this,
Love it.
inner city or whatever, and she'll just drive and she'll go, Carrie, let's get out. We're gonna take some pictures of you.
So she help you how to pose and everything?
I think I mean, she's helped me because she was kind of a model, but she goes, I don't really have anything to teach. I mean, I just kind of do it. I didn't think of it. I just try not to fall down, if I do my cross legs a certain way. Yeah. So the fact that you would even say it, thank you very much, because I didn't stand.
Awesome.
How about your fashion? Did your cis girlfriends give you any advice and stuff?
I've always been into fashion. I've always been into clothes, and I think that was probably part of it. Is I always loved women's clothes.
Yeah.
And even as my former self, I probably, I like clothes. Matter of fact, one of the things I did was just get rid of all of them.
Yeah.
But I've got to admit, there's two suits I didn't want to get rid of. They paid a lot of money for them. I'm tailored, they're high end. I go, I'm never going to wear these. Okay. I mean, I'm never going to do anything. They look good on a hanger, and but I've always been into clothes and dresses and skirts, and I
want to ask you. I want to ask you. So, do you shop in person? Try it on fitting room, or you shop online?
I think we may have frozen up a little bit.
Do we lost you?
I try to, but I'm kind of large. I try to, but it's hard because. I would go to a store and I have just my size, and my size, my shoes are, not every store carries those, and especially heels and all that. So
challenging.
So that's a bit of a challenge.
This episode is brought to you by KitCaster. KitCaster books you on top podcasts. How do funded startup founders attract prospects and talent? Podcast interviews. How do entrepreneurs with exits find new deals? Podcast interviews. How do C-suite execs differentiate in crowded markets? Podcast interviews. KitCaster books you on top podcasts. Click the link in the show notes for a special offer. Celebrate good conversation.
So when you shop in person in Michigan, did anyone give you any problems? Or you have any issues?
Yeah, I've had some, I mostly bought clothes in person.
Mm-hmm.
There has been, no one has ever said anything, but you can see. And I'm not trying to make it up, but you can see. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of like, here I am, and then I have to, my clothes, I have to get kind of taken in or out or whatever. I probably wear my skirts way too short. But I have a seamstress that helps me out, and puts me together.
Awesome.
So I'll buy something and she'll make it work for me.
Awesome.
Actually, I just bought a dress and I was going to wear that today, but it was just like way too much.
Save it for next time.
They're falling off the top.
You can tell just the joy that you have when that inner matches the outer and authenticity is there. It just, you can see it, especially in that first picture in the car, your eyes tell the story. And so it's amazing. It's amazing to see. It's amazing to experience, and it's amazing to see in others as well.
I've been lucky. You cross paths with Shelby, and she's always, and we all have our battles, we all have our wars, we all have our tough times.
Definitely.
But I got deep, but I've been lucky. I've had great support, and the support I have has been great and wonderful, and I think that's kind of added on to the happiness. And
yes. Very important.
I'm seeing things through a different lens right now, not because I got to wear glasses and I'm blinded out, but but no, I can see, things just are much more crisper in my life.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'd like to think I'm a better person.
Exactly.
And I think that's the one thing that we talked earlier about, about therapy. It was kind of recognizing that I had victories I didn't even know about, right? Being like, okay, you've got this. And so I just tried to, I just gonna live my life, and whether it's, on my own, however, I mean.
So is there anyone that give you a big impact or influence when you first started?
Yeah.
Any other girl? Not me, but anybody else?
Well, I was gonna say it was you.
No.
And but no, there has been, but it was more, seeing how they kind of lived, how they were negotiating it through. I mean, I think that I know there's some people that are having a really tough time.
Yes.
And I think I tell this when I've told people, and is go on your own pace, right? And maybe some people it's a little longer, right?
Right.
Somebody says, no, you got to go do your shots. You got to go take, HRT. You got to do this.
Right.
You're not out entirely. I've had people say, because you're kind of negotiating and you're not totally out at work, it's not that I'm hiding anything. It just hasn't happened.
Right.
But it was more of a, well, then you're not out. Well, okay, I'm out to me, And so I think that when you find your settled spot, you take your victories and you move on and you try to grow it on. But I think there's things I've always told people. It's like you go on your own pace. It's just like,
Exactly.
what? It's no different than if I wasn't doing this, right?
Exactly.
There's we all have our lives,
right?
And you should, that's just how I live.
Right.
So,
there's no one right way to be cis, and there's no one right way to be trans. And so what's unique is our journeys are so similar and so different at the same time. I always find that fascinating. I was talking on social media this week about that, about how there are so similarities, but then they're entirely different contexts.
No, and I agree. I mean, like I said, and the first time was a girl, a friend of mine, and she cisgendered, and she was realizing she was a bit of a lipstick lesbian, and we were having drinks, and it happened to be in a bar that all of a sudden was a happy hour for several trans girls, and we were getting ready to go. She had to go, and I said, I'm going to pay the bill, and she goes, take a look, because that's your life. Because she knew what was going on. And 2 weeks later, I was taking that picture, that you saw earlier. Like, all right,
Amazing.
And so, so that's kind of how
excellent.
Okay. So, do you want to give some other girls who's still in the closet or maybe not sure or afraid to go forward or come out? Do you have any advice or even people who's maybe working and they are not sure if they should come out? Do you have,
I would
based on your experience, do you have any advice for
I think,
others?
just what I said before, everybody has their own pace.
Yes.
And I think that if you're not ready, you decide, when will you be ready? And if you don't think you're ever going, this is not for the faint-hearted. I mean, you guys are going, you know what it's like. This is not an easy trial, and
no one chooses this.
And I choose to be very positive, but I understand, the world's not bright and, sunshiny every day.
Rainbow.
Women out there. I know there's some girls out there that, they've lost jobs, they've lost families, they've been on the street, and God bless them for, still continuing on. But at the end of the day, we all deserve to be living with dignity. We all deserve to be living as our true selves. And I think that's the one thing I would say is like, find your level of dignity, find your area. Don't let anybody push you, because if you're doing this because so-and-so, and I've had this conversation, they're saying, well, Carrie, you got to do this, you got to do that, and I'm like, okay, I'm not. Or I'm going to say, okay, let's do it, and it's where that fits into your life.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
You know? And I've been lucky, right? I've got these neighbors on both sides of me, and they noticed. I mean, when we were talking earlier, when I first started living full time, it was during early part of the pandemic, and they knew what was happening, and out here in Michigan, people, at first when they would get together, they'd sit on their driveway, you'd sit on their sidewalk, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And I came walking out and heels and a pair of leather leggings, and my
I love
glasses,
it.
and it was great, and so like I said, and I do live in an area that has a lot of diversity in it, mostly gay, but it's a lot of diversity.
Yeah.
Okay, so Michelle, do you have any last question for Carrie today?
Well, it's really good to know you, and it's really fun to see you walk in your authenticity. And it sounds like community has been really important to you, both in your cis and trans friends. And so I think that's a kind of a lesson for all of us, that we've been given a lot, and now we have a lot to give. And so
and that's
it's exciting.
I mean, I don't try to, I figured, there are people I can talk to. And I've asked, Shelby, things, and just seeing how people live their lives,
right,
and how they progress, right? Shelby had changed careers, and I've had to, I'm thinking I might have to do that,
Come join me to become a realtor.
Shelby will probably be a real estate agent when I move to California,
Perfect.
and it just, if it happened, but I've been lucky. And so thank you guys.
That's good. Thank you for coming to the show. Yeah, so you have to come back and update with us and see where you're at, your work and personal life, and maybe we'll talk about relationship next time.
Well, you keep me reined in, I know I can be extra. And so, but you guys are so
thank you so much, and continue to do you.
Yes, it's great to meet you. Thank you for your time.
Wonderful to meeting you. Okay.
All right. So that's it for Transparency Podcast Show. See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
Love you.
Love you. Thank you.